Welcome to Advent of Tessellations 2023. I'm Madonna Yoder, and I hope you will join hundreds of origami folders around the world in folding this daily challenge to increase your origami tessellation folding skills, so the twists and repeating patterns folded all from a single sheet of paper. Welcome back to day 5 of Advent of Tess. We're folding a pattern of my own design that I call Isoarea Spaced Stars. So the stars bit is coming from the backlighting of the center, where we have these 3 closed triangle twists on opposite sides, the exact same center as yesterday's Advent of Tess. And the difference between yesterday and today is one thing and one thing only, and that is that within the clusters of 4 twists, each one is on the opposite side from its neighbors. So we still have the clusters alternating sides between clusters, but we also have the twists alternating sides within the cluster now. So we're going to get started exactly the same way as yesterday, and this time I'm just going to draw the central hexagon on one side of the paper. And we're going to start with a closed triangle twist in this position. So zooming in, what did I do here? I drew a little hexagon with alternating mountain and valley folds centered exactly around the center, and I will do a dot in the center so we can tell the 2 sides apart. And I took this mountain and extended it up when it's on the right hand side, and that is going to mean I have a new mountain parallel to the valley that is going to give me my location of the center of the twist, and we get the twist direction both from the fact that there's not a valley there in the center, so it has to be on the other side, and the relative locations of the mountain and valley on this plate. So with that in place, we can go ahead and squash our new twist. And then I'll flip over to the back side, and remember, just like last time, I'm going to grab that pleat that's not going around the center, flip, and now I know the other 2 are going around the center, so I'm going to rotate them more or less into workable areas. I'll start with the one on my right hand side, and we're going to have the corner of the twist coming exactly to the closed hole. So the center is going to be 1 spacing out from that closed hole. We're going to open that pleat, let our 3-way intersection come into place, and make everything twist around the same way as that pleat that's feeding in. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the other pleat that's going around the center. So I'm rotating that one, so it's kind of pointing horizontally to my right. And again, I'm going to be coming 1 spacing out from the closed hole to find the center of my 3-way intersection of mountain folds that will twist around and squash to become a closed triangle twist. From here, I'll grab that pair of parallel pleats that we have now and flip back to the front side. Back to the front. And then I will do the same thing on these 2 pleats, just like we did in the last video. Or the previous day of Advent of Tess, rather, and coming 1 spacing out from the closed hole, I'm going to set up my closed triangle twist here, And remember, I did say that there's an alternative method that's easier to get both of these in once you already have practiced and understand this maneuver, which I call a triangle wrap. So what did I just do? I opened up this new pleat and let this valley that's going around the center go down and in until it hits the valley of the twist from the latest triangle. So that is this valley in here from the latest triangle, and those are going to split off, forming a three-way intersection. Then we're going to have two three-way intersections of mountains on top of that. One of those is going to be directly above the three-way intersections section of valleys, and the other is going to be where we're putting our next closed triangle twist once everything is flat and in place. And for a more in-depth explanation of that, the previous video in the series does a much more thorough explanation. Then we can squash the closed triangle, and flipping over, we can take this pleat that is free to move, flip it over so the valley's on the opposite side, and squash our sixth triangle twist. Now I'm going to go ahead and stay on this side for right now because the references that we need are all already here. And while yes, you could have drawn your crease pattern on the paper and you would have more information than on the side that you drew it on, really the moves are the same. And what I want to get you starting to see is that we can identify where the next twist goes without looking at the crease pattern at all, just with verbal cues. So the next thing I want to do is put in an open triangle twist with its corner to the closed hole that its pleat is coming out of. So I find a pleat coming from a twist on the other side, and if my corner of the open triangle is going to come to that pleat, then my valley is going to need to come in that direction. So there's two possible ways the valley could go, this direction or this direction, but only one of those leads to the mountains outlining a target grid triangle. The other direction would be if you wanted to put a hexagon type thing or a rhombus type thing on this pleat. So we're going to set up our open triangle twist and squash. And this time we need to flip the paper over to put the next twist in place. So I'm going to grab the pleat that I'm going to work on next and flip the paper over. And now one of the things about these open triangles, we know that all three pleats coming out of the open triangles need to be treated the same because that's how these cluster 4 structure tessellations work. And so the corner of the new closed triangle needs to come to the corner of the open triangle hole. So the corner is needing to come there. Therefore, I need one more space to get to the center. So I can go ahead and set up that central twist and squash. And then you know how in the last tessellation we would flip the paper over after we did the corner twist. So we would do like the central twist and then the corner twist, then flip the paper over and then set up a center and a corner. Well, we have basically the same idea here, except the center is going to be on the same side as the twist we just finished, and the corner is going to be on the opposite side. So that center is going to be an open twist off of this pleat. So I'm going to have my valley going off here. It's going to look a little different from the opposite side because it's the opposite twist-handedness. And we have another pleat going through things. So that is the center of my new twist. And when I go to make this valley to bring up my mountain in this direction, I need to pop the valley down so it goes until it hits the next valley over. So this is going to be a triangle wrap. We're going to have that three-way intersection of mountains on top of the three-way intersection of valleys down below. And I need to find the third direction for my twist on top to let that all lay flat, squashing my twist on top. I'm going to flip the paper over and flip the free pleat to get me my new closed triangle. Now I'll repeat the process. So here now I have two corners of my open hole. I need the third, so I'm going to come one spacing out from the corner of the open hole, because I know that that point is going to be the corner of my closed triangle twist, and the center is one spacing out from the corner. Set up and squash the closed triangle. Identify where the next open triangle needs to go. Open up the pleat from the closed triangle, not opening the twist, just opening the pleat. We're going to pop that valley down through so it snaps and wraps around. This is why it's called a triangle wrap. And we need to erase the extension of the original mountain as it goes past our target grid triangle. So erasing that, we instead have a pleat in the third direction for that open triangle twist, which we squash and then flip to squash the triangle that was wrapped and start the process all over again. So I've got a new open triangle corner that needs a new closed triangle twist, and squash. And now I'm going to set up my open triangle in here and the wrap. So always be looking for that three-way intersection of valley folds down in there. That will be your guide for that move. And flip and squash. And I'm actually going to show you an alternative way of setting this up. So now instead of running my pleat up and causing a pleat overlap, I can stop 2 spaces from the center of my three-way intersection, because that is where the valley from the new open triangle twist is going to come through, and then I can let it wrap around before I've even squashed anything, and then zip on up with the closed and then the open. So that is the way that I mentioned going around the center, how I would do it for folding for myself. And flipping over, we have that wrapped triangle that we can release and squash. And now we have 3 parallel pleats. We're going to start with the closed triangle up top, and notice if I were to fold this hard all the way through, I'm going to end up crossing through and creating a new crease in the open triangle twist on the back side. I don't really want to do that. So what I'm going to do instead is, just like I showed you on the previous repeat, set up that open triangle, and even just having this much set up and leaving that last repeat for the end is going to prevent us from having our pleat cross through an existing twist and cause a new overlap. Now, while I'm here, I do want to set up that final triangle twist. And let's do that again in slow motion. So I'm going to have a valley coming from the corner of the open hole. It's going to cause a 3-way intersection of valleys. It's going to cross the mountain and down into the valley, causing that triangle wrap. And I can bring up the triangle on top. And again, if I was folding just for myself, I would have set up all 3 of these and then gone squash, 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 and then flip over like we're doing now, and take the free pleats and squash them as they're available. So that's what we're looking at with isoarius-based stars. And like I mentioned in the previous videos, this is kind of on a ratchet up of the difficulty with just triangles. And we're going to see a simplification in the next video as we introduce the hexagon twists. So we'll have a couple with hexagons and triangles that are going to have fewer twists in the paper than we just saw with those last 3 pieces that used the cluster 4 triangle techniques. So I hope you join me for the rest of the series. Don't forget to post what you folded with hashtag Advent of Tess. And if you want me to see it right away, tag me at Gathering Folds. I love sharing what everyone is folding. And yeah, happy folding. See you in the next one.